So the end of the year is coming to a close. We are going to say goodbye to 2023 very soon. I'm looking at my watch here, there's only 2 hours remaining until the Earth has done a full revolution around the sun, and then it can start again. That's my way of looking at it. My goodness, this year has been absolutely insane. I've actually been able to do things that I never thought I'd be able to do again. If you're new to the channel, and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about and you're watching me for the first time, this time last year I was in a wheelchair. I had suffered from a bulging disc. I had a cortisone injection that had gone bad. They injected into the nerve instead of around the nerve, and that caused me to basically be in a paralysed position, to be fair. My mobility was severely limited. I was having to use crutches to get around, a wheelchair, a wheelie walker, and yeah, I could not walk very far. I tried to make as many videos as I could, but yeah, it was definitely not easy. And what I said to myself in 2022, if I improve, if I am able to walk again, unaided, with crutches, then I will do everything I can to make the success and push on with my career and just live life, because that really tested me and it really put me into a dark spot. I never thought I'd be able to get out of it, and now I'm been able to do what I've done this year. I started off the year thinking I'll be lucky to make maybe 20 or 24 videos. We've managed to pump out about 70 videos, which is I'm absolutely over the moon about. Been ecstatic. I've learned so much on this channel. I've learned so much about B-roll, and how to storytell using different music. And if you go back to some of my earlier videos of this year, and then of 2023, and then you go to some of my recent stuff of 2023, you'll see that change. I'm always trying to change and coming up with different ideas on how to storytell, editing, getting my audio right as well. Yeah, it's a great bit of fun, and things are moving. So it's a bit of a mess in here, as you can see. It's a bit of a shambles. I've been making a video today on which will be live in the future, in next year, which is about how to do long exposure photography. It was basically it's a bit of like a master set, I guess we could say. It goes on for a little bit, but I go over such a large amount of stuff: gear, filters, settings, focusing, yeah, a whole load of things, and also over different scenarios, like waterfalls and doing seascapes and using mist filters and stuff like that. So yeah, I won't spoil it too much, but that's something to look forward to. I've also got my new filters, so that'll be in next week's video, because I'm actually going to put this out tonight. So I'm going to make sure I edit this video as soon as I basically finish recording this and get it out there. So yeah. To start off with the year, I didn't know what I was going to do, and what I ended up doing, to make it easier for myself, if I could find the thing. Oh, here it is. Great, I didn't have to go far for it. I ended up making this little list. Now, I did mention this in one of my videos. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was going to talk about maybe buying a film medium format. That was going to be something towards like August time, but I thought that was probably something that wouldn't happen, but it ended up happening in, I think, March. So that happened a little earlier. I found this camera that one of my friends was selling, and I went, you know what, it was like 5 lenses. 4 of them were actually in fully working order. The 5th one was a bit cloudy and hazy, so that's just staying up on my shelf, and it's like an ornament in here. But yeah, with all the other lenses, they are in full use. I don't use my long lens at the moment, but I will be using it at some stage. It's a 250mm lens. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the film photography side. I didn't think I would, but it's been a great experience. I've definitely learned a lot. I've had some troubles along the way, and then I also had a falling out with one of the places that develop film and scans everything, and also do prints to customers worldwide. But yeah, no loss there, because it gained me a different company, which is Silverhide Studios, and that's who I'm going to be using for developing and scanning of my film for the future, from here on out, at least when we live in Australia. And then I'm going to have to find a new company in England. And what we've also done on here, so I was really struggling on here to gain an audience. You know, it's really hard when you're starting out on YouTube, and you know, the subscriber count was going up gradually. I think at the start of the year we might have been about 400 subscribers. Towards about September time, I was sitting at around, I think it was 700 subscribers. But since then I've done a bit of research, and it turns out I have to actually pay and promote my account. So certain videos I've been doing that for. Something that I thought people would find interesting, and it did actually work. That was a bit of a roller coaster, a bit of a learning curve, but now I've got it down pat. I know what I'm doing, and I've found out a system that works for me for the budget that I have. And yeah, it's doing really well. So I'm going to be doing a few more promotions, and hoping by Feb time we'll probably have to be out to 10,000 subscribers. So gear wise, I said, I think earlier on in the year, that I won't be, you know, selling gear, and I'm going to be using the setup that I've currently got. I didn't need any more gear. And then I got, you know, the news about my back, and it made me rethink everything when I had the wheelchair. And my setup at the time, I had the Hasselblad H4D40. I had, I think it was the 300mm prime, the 150mm, the 35-90, and the 28mm, all by Hasselblad. Extremely nice glass, extremely nice camera, but it was extremely heavy, and I needed to, I had that tough call that I had to make, that I had to put that up for sale, because it was going to cost me my career, my what I'm going to turn into my livelihood, which is this channel, and what I'm going to be doing in the future, workshops and everything. So, and selling books and calendars. So yeah, it was a very hard decision for me to make. But I'm so glad I did make that decision. Minimise my kit. I went back to full frame. I was a bit hesitant to do so. I was looking at Leica, I was looking at Fuji, the GFX50S system. I managed to get myself one of the GFX50S2 cameras and a couple of lenses. I ended up walking around the city. That's when I'd done that my first impression sort of video. It was my first go with that camera. I had no idea what I was doing with it. I took some photos, made a little video, which I will link to up here, so you can go and check that one out. And I got a few dislikes. I got a few people commenting about that video, but it was something that I wanted to do, and the way I structured that video is very different. And I actually ended up going into YouTube Editor recently and trimming out a section in that, which was about 8 minutes of me blabbering on about something which was totally erroneous to that topic. So yeah, really sort of trimmed down that video nicely now, and it works so much better. It was an interesting system, but I'm glad I didn't get that. I'm glad I went back to Canon. So I ended up getting myself a 6D, the original one, the classic, and I bought I think I ended up getting this this lens, the 24-105 STM, the one with the variable aperture, which goes from 3.5 to 5.6. A superb lens, really nice and sharp, a lot better than the L version, and since it's got an STM motor, it's silent autofocus, so if you're doing video work you won't hear that. It works on a completely different wavelength. And then I ended up getting myself a 70-200 f4 LIS. I thought that was going to be perfect for me, and it was really nice. It was really sharp. But what I found, with my photography, it was just really limiting on the reach. I did get myself a 1.4 time extender. That worked, but it did make it a little soft. But you know, that only made my reach up to about 280mm. So then I went, you know what, I think I need a longer lens. And after a lot of tossing and turning and then trying to make up my mind if I really needed it, I ended up spending the money and I got this lens, the Canon 100-400. This is the version 2. It's a outstanding lens. So sharp. It might be a bit heavier. I think it's about 1.3 or 1.4 kilos. I can't remember how heavy the 7200 f4 LIS was. I think that was about 700 or 800 grams from memory. So this was just a little bit more, but my goodness, the image quality, the IS on this is outstanding. The image quality, if I haven't said that, is really good. The additional reach, I thought I'd need a extender on this, but I don't. And having the ability to put a polarizing filter on here and then rotate it through the lens hood. Now, do I know I have the lens hood? Everything is sort of scattered around the place. I don't know where everything is. So yeah, you're able to put it through the lens hood, and so if it's raining or something, I can easily adjust it. And since I've got a new filter system, which will be in next week's video, made by Case, I can use that with this, and it's going to be quite nice and easy. I will still be using my main filter system, but yeah, I love this lens, and I ended up I wasn't sure if I wanted something a little bit wider for my landscape photography. So what I ended up getting myself was what did I buy myself? The 16-35 f2.8, but the original one, but it was just too soft. It had problems with softening in the corners. You know, it was like from the middle it was sharp and nice, but then it faded off quite quickly. It was just because that lens wasn't designed for a high resolution camera like the 5D. So it would have been fine on like a 10 megapixel camera. You wouldn't have noticed that. But yeah, so I ended up buying that lens for about $500, and then I ended up selling it for $700. I didn't think I'd make any profit, and I made a profit. And then I ended up getting this little guy, which is the Canon 17-40 f4. It still has that same problem, but it's so much better, and it's lightweight. It was actually cheaper. I think this was about $390. But yeah, it's just been a bit of a roller coaster trying to find out what lenses I wanted. And then I, wanted more, and then I ended up finding that I did like the Canon system, going back to that, and I ended up picking up a 5D Mark IV for $2,000 used, and this was in immaculate condition. As you can see, it's pretty nice and clean at the moment. There are a few scuffs, that's all from me now. But yeah, I picked this up, and it had about 11,000 photos taken on it. No idea what I was up to now. It's probably around 20,000 because I've done some time lapses with it. But yeah, absolutely stunning camera. I really love this, and I'm probably going to be shooting with this camera for probably the next 10 years easily. I've got no need to upgrade. But anyway, we turned this into a bit of a gear chat. But that's what this year has been about. It was, I was having to rethink my gear setup, and making changes to it to make it accommodating for my back. I've still got my bulging disc problem. I keep looking at this display. I'll move that off to the side so I don't keep looking at it. I've just realised I've probably been eyeing at it, and it's, yeah, that's a really bad habit. So yeah, now we've just tucked that away. Now I'm looking at you. So yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, we went through the gear thing and trying to narrow it down, and having the bulging disc, and then a very annoying thing. I ended up going to the Stirling range, and about 2 days into my trip, it was going to be a month-long trip there, or stay there, and it still ended up being a month trip there. 2 days in, what did I do? I ended up having a fall in some washout, and I injured my back. I had bruised ribs. I also injured my spine again, and just had a lot of soft tissue damage, which was really annoying. I think I've still got problems with it. But annoyingly, my spine still hurts in the exact same location, and I've got pain on my right hand side still, which has not improved since. Every morning when I wake up, my back is extremely sore and painful and tight, but as the day progresses, it becomes loose. I don't know, when I had the fall, and 24 hours later I went to the hospital down in Albany, I had the scans done. they showed up nothing was wrong. So I don't know what's going on. I don't want to go back to any doctors. I've had enough of doctors now. So I'm just going to see how it goes, and see how next year goes. But yeah, it's just something I'm cautious of, but it hasn't actually caused any problems with me climbing and doing stuff. It's just one of those things where it's stiff and sore, but it hasn't got any worse. It hasn't caused me any grief. So yeah, it's just one of those things. And then yeah, so we've what else have we been doing? So yeah, earlier in the year we just because I wanted to look after my back, I was staying in like cabins and chalets and stuff like that because I wanted to give my back time to recover. I did have a go at staying in a tent for about 3 days in the early part of the year, and that was crippling. And then towards the end of this year, I'd done the same, and I was absolutely fine. So it's great that I've been able to recover that way, but it has been very, very expensive because staying in villas, motels, hotels, cabins, when camping is just so much cheaper. So yeah, next year I'm looking to downsize my setup even more. I'm possibly going to sleep in the car, and just it's going to make it so much nicer, more. It's not going to become as noticeable when people are like traveling along the road. They'll just see a parked up car, when normally I've got my rooftop tent on and it's all set up. It looks like I'm actually camping. So I want to go sort of more under the radar sort of thing. So that's why I'm going to be sleeping in my car. I'm not going to have that, that comfort as much, and and people can see in. So, but yeah, it's just going to be, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice and dry. It's going to be warmer. But yeah, so that's for next year. But yeah, as I said, it's just been a wild ride, and what I really wanted to do with this channel is grow it up and gain engagement, where I have people talking to me, in the comments, and that has happened, which is fantastic. I've had people who've watched some of my videos on here, and then they jump onto Instagram and send me a message, and want to talk to me more on there, which is fantastic. I'm talking with one person at the moment who is in England, who's interested in learning about motorsports photography. He watched my motorsports photography, how I got into it, and the whole rigmarole about what it's like to be a professional motorsports photographer, shooting for media publications, magazines, shooting for clients, doing photo shoots and everything, and dealing with customers, clients, selling photos. So yeah, I done a video on that. It's definitely not a lifestyle I want to go back to, because my goodness, it was so hard. You think landscape photography is hard, you think portrait photography is hard. That is not hard compared to motorsports photography. Motorsports photography is hard, and it's a very competitive area, and only very few people earn really good money from that. But the main people that earn really good money from that side of photography, they also do other things on the sidelines. They're working for the brands, they're shooting for, they're doing photo shoots, they're working for teams. So yeah, it's more than, there is a lot more to it. And yeah, hats off to people who are still doing it. I've got friends who are doing it. I've had people who had messaged me in the past to meet up with me as well, who are seasoned professionals, who are, one of them is a Canon ambassador, and and he asked me for some help and tricks and wanted to improve on his photography, and we just sat down and chatted once in Scarborough Hotel about things. So yeah, but yeah, this year has just been wild. I can't believe where it's, where we started to where we are now, and then to where we're going next year. I've got no idea where I'm going to be in 5 years' time. But all I know, it's going to be in a really good place, and I'm really excited. YouTube, joining this platform, making my videos, putting myself out there in quite a vulnerable point. I really put a lot of effort into my videos, and I'm always got that thing when I made the video, like now, I'm wondering, is anyone going to watch it? Is it going to be engaging? Are people going to be able to connect with it? So that's always a thing I put in the back of my head. But another thing that sits there is, if I don't put that video out, it's my channel's not going to get the views. I'm not going to get the growth. If I'm happy with the video, if I think it's going to connect with people, and it's also a documentation of my photography, my channel, and everything, and my life. So I'd much rather put something out than nothing out at all, because if you don't put anything out there and you're showing you're working, you're not going to move on. So that's the reason why. So yeah, anyway, I think I've done enough talking. I've got to now, actually, I think I've been talking for about 20 odd minutes now. So yeah, it has been a little bit of a long one, but I just wanted to share a few things. But yeah, my golly, it's been a good year, and I hope everyone has had a fantastic year. If you haven't, I hope things improve for you next year. And yeah, so well to 2023. I'm welcoming 2024. So yeah, all right, so it's time for me to say goodbye, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Okay, bye for now.